Hello, it's Henry. I'm back with What the Hell is Flicker Street? I think this is chapter 9. Uh, as I've said before, I really don't know how many of these I'm going to make. Um, I've been getting really deep into the lore of my story, and I'm afraid I might be going too far down the rabbit hole for a lot of people. So, at least this time around, I'm going to continue to return to resorting to visual aids. So, I'm going to try to tell a couple of simple stories, and I'll probably go off on various tangents, but I might tell you a little background behind each drawing. We'll see. I'm making this up as I go along, so what the hell. So this is a portrait that I'm very proud of. This is of my character Franki Linn Tudreau, born Frances Linda Slate. She is one of my great muses in the story, inspiring me to write about her and keep her in the story. She was intended to be a short-term character. I based her after a person I was really involved with a bit before my ex-fiance, and made a big impact on me. So I had made up a character based around this person, and there were a lot of strange synchronicities, that I had no idea. I made up the name Franki Linn Tudreau in like the 80s, mid to late 80s. It was going to be the name of like a rock star, a male rock star. And of course, it was Franki, Franki. Threw in a few things like Joe Lynn Turner, Ronnie James Dio, these kind of ideas towards that kind of name. But then I just put the name aside for, aeons, like 25, 30 years almost. And I came up with a character based on my ex-girlfriend, and like my ex-girlfriend, she is kind of a, because I'm not sure what my ex-girlfriend's up to now, but I do know what Franki's up to. Franki is kind of a political radical. She's far left. She's a sort of an anarchist of sorts. She just thinks the whole system should be destroyed. She would like to, at one time she wanted to run for public office, but realized that it just was too much. She was going to get lost in the machine and not be able to affect any real change on such a small level as being a congresswoman for her area in Florida. So anyway, here she is again. I composited about 4 or 5 pictures of my ex-girlfriend into a picture. I did this picture in about 2 hours flat, which is, that used to be normal for me when I was very young. I could finish a piece like that, from pencil down to finished pencil, or one that didn't involve ink, but just one medium, or extra, levels to it, mixed media, etc. But this was the night that I, was finally, it was made clear to me that things were over with me and my ex fiance, and I was in a bit of a frenzy, and the only way I could deal with it is to sublimate it through my art. And so that's the night I created the Flicker Street, Henry Covert's Flicker Street page on, well, no, I'd already created that. That was the night I created the Flicker Street studio. That's when I christened the studio in the living room and made it its own little room. And as we had planned to do, but I was now going to do it all for myself, and it was all going to be Flicker Street Studio, and I was going to make an online presence for it. So I made a page, and I invited people I knew, almost like it was a virtual opening, which it kind of was. And I posted a few things, and by the end of the evening, this was one of the things I posted. And because I did this kind of in this frenzy and finished it, and that became my so she became like my mascot for the studio, just like Carillion Creed, whose image is on the first of these videos thumbnail. Carillion Creed was kind of my mascot for Flickr Street, Henry Covert's Flickr Street page. So I haven't decided on one for my official website. I think I have up a character, Tana Disraeli Thorn, right now. I believe it was a very cool character. I wish I'd printed out one of her, but I'll trip you more through my sketchbook another time. I did show you several back at the beginning of my original black and white originals before scanning and kind of digitally sweetening them, coloring them, etc. So, so what's the deal with Frankie? Well, um, when I was trying to find a name for the character that I'd come up with in recent years, this kind of semi-biographical, quasi-biographical analog to someone I had been close to. Um, I wanted a name that was evocative of that person's name without being a direct riff on it. And so several fortuitous things happened. In my mind, it was like synchronicities because I noticed something I had never noticed before when we were talking again for a short while, not relationship talking, but just speaking, texting. I noticed on her Facebook that she had acquired a nickname, and it was the same name that I had really seriously thought about naming the character. I really thought about taking Franki Linn Tudreau with, out of mothballs. And the Lynn part was a clue, and that's a clue to my ex-girlfriend's real name. That's evocative. And it's really strange because I decided on the name and then, like 90%. And then I read that Frankie was one of her nicknames. She had acquired like other nicknames under Facebook, and she didn't have that on her old profile. And it was spelled with an I also. And so I was like, oh, my stars aligned. And I told my then therapist, Tom, about it. And he actually had a hard time believing me. He said, that's kind of creepy, man. And it was kind of creepy, but in a cool way. So I went ahead and christened my character and designed her and brought her to life. And I'm really happy with that drawing. It's kind of sometimes it's a reminder of things I haven't accomplished in the last year plus since I founded the studio that I'd wanted to have accomplished by now. And then other times it inspires me to write and inspires me to think I can draw again and I can draw that well again. So it's an important little piece here that I keep at hand a lot. So, I love the character. I'm not in love with the real life analog any longer. She's a great person in her own way and has definitely made an impact on me. But she lives on through this character, and like I've said before, sometimes I'll base these on real people, and then I'll lose touch with the real person, and the character will live on with that person's kind of basic traits, their template. They're the template of that character, but the character is more than them, within my world, the Flickr Street continuity. So that's what's happened with Frankie. Frankie's, when I posted her picture, I posted her biography with it on the Henry Covert's Flickr Street Facebook page. I don't really know who read it. I don't know if anyone read it. It's pretty heavy, and there's fact and fiction. There's there's analogs to a lot of stuff that happened in real life to this person, and a lot of my thoughts about this person manifested in their biography. Um, And you know, some of this character's phraseology in speaking and in writing is kind of evocative of that person. This is a tribute to that person because she was a muse of mine, and you know, I can't I can only thank her for being that. I've had a few strong, not a few, but I've had about three really strong ones in the last several years since my divorce. And of course, the strongest was, you know, the woman I was going to take as my second wife, who I've talked about quite a bit. You might have seen my last video, who I am now and what I want. Um, I got really personal in that, and I talked a bit about the intersection with where I am and where I'm going, hopefully, and where I've been, and the ongoing healing process and the grieving from losing that young lady, and also where Flicker Street fit into that, and the biographical nature of it, and the cathartic, you know, thing it provided me, what it provided me in general, just the act of creation, and the fact that my ex fiance was able to pinpoint, you know, this what it was about, what I was expressing. So that's given me a lot of layers since then, and Ellinger has become a very rich and organically growing piece. And when it's over, the next one, the Neologs, is going to continue that, but it's also going to, via various, I guess you'd call them flashbacks, uh, reestablish the cosmology, a bit of which I went into a couple of installments back in this series, of the Flicker Street, literally the universe, and how the universe touched down on Earth and the effects it has had on this planet, on that Earth. So, um, anyway, yes. So Franki's story is fraught with a lot of drama and hard times. There's a dark past in there. I didn't even reveal it all in um, the bio that I wrote for her on the page. But it's kind of intense. She is going to be bonded to two of my long-term friends, two of my longtime friends, two of my long-term characters, but I guess they are friends to me in an odd way. Leo Rosegrave and Simon Boom, neither of which I've done an official portrait in this series yet, but they're high on the list of to-dos. However, I have drawn one picture of Leo Rosegrave and a number of Simon Boom because I created him in 1986, and he was kind of a minor character. Um, I based him on this guy, physically based him on this guy who was in my business math class. And, you know, it's funny because I just kind of scrawled this character and the name just kind of came to me. And I got him involved with a supporting character named Sigrid Weston, who worked at this local grocery store in Hallmark, which I kind of based on Harris Teeter, the grocery store I then worked for. It that was my first job, and the Simon and Sigrid thing quickly became kind of a little soap opera-ish super couple riff for me. At the time on soap operas, on Days of Our Lives, this character Patch was very popular, played by Stephen Nichols, and he was paired with a young lady named Kayla. My story had no incidents in common with that, but the vibe of it, this young kind of ingenue falling in love with this kind of rough looking kind of, you know, leather and denim clad cat, and, you know, trying to kind of bring him around. And, you know, it's kind of an old trope and it's probably worn out by now. And I think people are seeing that, as romantic as it is in its way, it rarely really happens in real life. You know, I hate to be cynical, but the bad boys rarely do really have a heart of gold. And uh, the young women are rarely able to put up with them and be patient enough to turn them or to redeem them. But it makes for great story conflict and material. It always has. So that was that story. But Simon moved on to a number of stories. Sigrid perished in a subsequent story, and Simon moved on to front burner and has been ever since. So he had his own whole subplot kind of thing going on during the austerity arc, and with his first and only marriage to a young lady named Arletty. And when they split up, I used that as a catharsis for my divorce for sure, and got a lot of stuff out. Um, Simon, in the present in my story, is living with. He inherited this house, and it's kind of mysterious. I mean, it's not like a haunted house or anything or a grand mansion. It's just a townhouse, but um, he's sharing it with my character Derek Pasquin, also known as Snowman, and I guess it was inevitable, maybe inevitable perhaps that those two would befriend each other because they've both been kind of loners, kind of outcasts, I guess, solitary figures, misunderstood figures, figures who had good hearts but did very impulsive and sometimes even violent things. And so I have a more than a soft spot. I mean, they're part of me, and they've made a lot of mistakes, a lot worse mistakes than I've ever made. Um, but it's that feeling, that comes through, so to speak. And so they're living together now, and they're practically best friends, as close as people like them can get to, say, another male in a friendship kind of scenario, or brotherhood kind of scenario, which is very very hard for both of them. Derek is an autistic character, and Snowman was his alter ego, his outlet for that, and as was his music at one time. Simon also dabbled in music, but he wrote a couple of songs that were really good, and Convy Lee Such helped him with them, um, and kind of tried to prop him up and give him some more self-esteem. But Simon always ended up feeling he was a loser. He always felt he wasn't good enough. He wasn't good enough at music. He wasn't a good enough friend, a good enough boyfriend, a good enough familiar to his sorceress mentor, who was a bit younger than him, but she became very powerful, called Urania Fabricant. That's another one that I have a portrait in the works for. A very important character in the Ellinger story. She's the leader of this place, the compound, where my beleaguered heroes, I guess you could say, are kind of holed up, and they've kind of created this entire underground place that's resistant to the government forces that are dogging them, and as well as other sinister things. And they kind of are trying to, it's like a commune by this point. They've been doing this for like almost 30 years. And I'm sorry, almost 20 years in my story. And um, it's becoming like a little commune. They even have a place called the Nursery, capital N, where they raise the orphan children of various of these characters that have been killed in these conflicts. Um, it's a trip. I don't know. Well, I mean that's a prosaic way to to describe it, but that's what we used to say back in the day, man. Like, you're a trip, man. I'd like to bring that back. I'd like to bring trip back. In any case, uh, Simon and Frankie, that's the star-crossed love story of the Ellinger arc. And it ends really badly, but the repercussions of its ending are going to echo for a long time to come. And Frankie will become even further radicalized and join Ellinger's organization. Sorry, I got distracting notifications. Um, and she'll become the Minister of Information, even though she's not black. Most of his core group is black, but he has white allies and allies of other races. He's trying to help all oppressed peoples. And Frankie has been sympathetic to the struggle of oppressed people since she was a little girl. And she's always been very poor. Her father was a Vietnam vet, not her biological father, but her father who raised her, Mr. Tudreau, Barry Tudreau. He was a Vietnam vet, and he had some health issues as a result. But their story is kind of poignant, and Leo Grosgrave happens to be biologically her first cousin, and he's never really gotten to know her at all, and he's a good bit older than her as well, and so he is now taking the time to help her get through this. And also, Leo and Simon were in the mental hospital up in Beckett at the same time together, and they bonded there. And so Leo understands mental illness pretty damn well, and he also wants Simon to be happy. So he's trying to help uh, Frankie through her demons, some of her demons, in a way he can as a supportive friend. And he's got his own wife and young infant child, to deal with. He's married to Carillion Creed, my mascot character, and they have had a great relationship in a lot of ways. It's been up and down, but it's been mostly up of late. But it's about to go kind of in the down spiral. Um, but not for want of trying or love or any of that. It's just, obstacles. And in this kind of story, even more so than in real life, any number of obstacles can come up for a couple, and it's challenging. It's challenging just to survive in a world um, where there's this paranoia because these dark forces are trying to control everything, and they're getting away with it because they're pretty much assimilated into the culture, into the leaders of our culture, and the moneyed interests in our culture, and the few people who know the truth. My friends, my friends at the compound, they know. They know and speak the truth, and they pay the price for it often. Um, it's a horrible situation to live under, and it would be challenging under the most ideal circumstances. But these are not ideal circumstances. We're kind of in my story. We're kind of leading up to an apocalyptic event of sorts, or a fallout in society. Their way of life is coming to an end, a permanent end. Massive paradigm shift globally. Um, the ironic thing is, I've been planning to do this for 20 years, to have this be kind of the ultimate. Well, it's going to be the ending of my story, but now I have no intention to end my story. I'm just going to keep it going forever, like a soap opera that can't be canceled. And so it's not going to be like Twin Peaks. It'll be like General Hospital, and just keep on continuing on and on, but continuing to evolve as these people are, as real people are, even though these people are, many of them are a good bit more um, bizarre and strange than real people. So yeah, anyway, I've kind of exhausted my charge here, not my computer, but my personal charge on this. So I'm going to wrap this up while I'm well under the half-hour mark. Just wanted to show you that drawing. Just wanted to talk about that character and a couple of other characters. I'll probably put her as the thumbnail for this video, and I will see you in the next video. I'll probably think of something else to explore then, but hopefully, as I get more content going again, I'll be able to share that directly, and as I do it, onto these videos if I choose to continue doing those videos. I am going to do a reading of some kind of bizarre pieces that I've written that dabble into the occult side of my story, and I'll read those on camera in one of the next installments. Other than that, I have no concrete plans. So take care, everybody. Thank you for watching.